Alright, we're back with Book 13 of the Odyssey. And it looks like our boy Odysseus finally makes it back to his homeland of Ithaca. And I realized that this story is not so much about it happening, but more so, I guess, the story of Odysseus telling his story. Because this whole time he was just telling a story. And now he's coming back, so you can kind of already get the sense of how Christopher Nolan will mess with time, as he normally does, going forward, and then they'll have a flashback, and then a jump forward, and then it's gonna be crazy. But I digest. So, Book 13, How Odysseus Came to Ithaca. He finished, and all were silent, as if spellbound in the shadowy hall. At last Alcinous spoke. Well, Odysseus, since you have come as far as my brazen walls and lofty roof, I don't think you will look a foiled adventurer when you get home. See Iliad 159, where Achilles invents this expression. See, yeah, what happened in the Iliad? Because I think that's, like, that could be, is that the live recounting, or is that a totally different story? Maybe we just have to read that next out. You will not... I don't think you will look a foiled adventurer when you get home, even if you have had plenty of trouble. And now, gentlemen, I have a bolt in my quiver for you. I have a bolt in my quiver for you, who have always been welcome to drink my best company wine and to hear my musician. The clothes are all packed in that coffer for our guest, with the fine gold plate and all the other gifts which our counselors have brought. I propose, now, that we offer him a large tripod and a cauldron apiece. We will collect the cost afterwards in the town. It would be too bad to let each man bear it all himself. They were quite content with this proposal, and dispersed to their homes for the night. As soon as the first rosy fingers of dawn appeared, those rosy fingers of dawn. As soon as the first rosy fingers of dawn appeared, they made haste to the ship with the useful brassware. Alcinous was careful to stow away these things with his own royal hands, packing them under the benches, so that the men might not damage them in rowing. Then the givers went on to the royal mansion and made ready for their banquet. The king's grace sacrificed an ox to our lord Zeus, Cronades, who dwells in clouds and darkness. When they had burnt the thigh slices, they had a famous feast and enjoyed it mightily, while Demodocus made music for them such as they always loved to hear. Odysseus turned his head ever and anon to the shining sun, impatient for his setting, for he was eager to be gone. As a man longs for his meal when all through the day his brown oxen draws the plough over the fallow field, until his knees fail under him while he plods along, and he is glad to see the sun set and leave him to his dinner. So Odysseus was glad to see the sun set, and once he addressed the company, Alcinous in particular, he said, "My lord Alcinous, most illustrious prince, now pour out your libations and let me go in peace, and be good with you all. For what my heart desired has now brought to pass, a friendly escort and friendly gift, which may the gods in heaven bless. May I return to my home, and find my faithful wife and my dear ones safe and sound. May you who remain make happy your own wives and children, and may the gods grant you success of every sort, and may no evil thing befall your people." All applauded this prayer, and served round to all in hall. That every one may offer a prayer to Father Zeus, and speed our guest on his way to his native land. Oh, wow, where did I? All applauded this prayer, and urged the king to speed their guest on his way after his admirable words. Then King Alcinous said to the herald, Pontonous, mix a bowl and serve round to all in hall. Pontonous, mix a bowl and serve round to all in hall, that every one may offer a prayer to Father Zeus, and speed our guest on his way to his native land. Then Pontonous mixed the honey-hearted wine and served it to all in turn. They poured the sacred drops to the blessed gods who rule the broad heavens, each man from his own seat. But Odysseus rose and passed the two-handled cup to Arete, saying to her, May it be well with you, queen, forever, until old age and death shall come, as they come to all men. Now I depart. A blessing on you and this house and your children and your people and their king, Alcinous. With these words, Odysseus stepped over the threshold. King Alcinous sent the herald with him to lead him to the seashore where the ship lay. And Arete sent with him 3 of her women, one bearing a tunic and a robe newly washed, another to convey the coffer, a third with a supply of bread and red wine. At the seaside where the ship lay, the young men of his escort received all this and stowed it away on board with the food and drink. They laid a blanket and sheet on the deck of the poop, and laid a blanket on the sheet and they laid a blanket and sheet on the deck of the poop for Odysseus, that he might sleep soundly. Odysseus went on board in silence and laid himself down, while the crew took their places and cast off the hawser, drawing it through the hole in the stone pillar. Then they paddled away with a good swing back. Blessed sleep fell on his eyelids. Deep sound and most sweet, the very image of death. And the ship, as 4 fine stallions in a team, leap like one when touched up with the whip, and gallop along the road with bounding paces, so her stern bounded aloft on the purple wave which followed big over the sounding sea. Steady and straight she ran. Not even the peregrine falcon could have kept up with her, and he is the most rapid of all winged things. So she cut swiftly through the waves, and she carried a man whose mind was as wise as the gods. Long years he had suffered great tribulation and sorrow of heart, wars on land and voyages over the stormy seas, and now he slept quietly, forgetting all his troubles. When that brightest of stars rose, which comes to tell us that the dawn is near, the traveling ship was drawing close to an island. There is a harbor of Phorcys, the old man of the sea, in the island of Ithica. 2 headlands enclose it, with steep sides sloping down to the harbor mouth to shelter it from the waves which boisterous winds may raise outside. Once inside, ships of good size can lie without mooring when they come within mooring distance. Of course, at the head of this harbor is an olive tree covered with its long leaves, and near the tree is a beautiful dusky cave, sacred to the nymphs who are called Naiads. In the cave are great bowls and 2-handled jars of stone, and in these bees hive their honey. There are also tall poles of stone like the beams of a loom, where the nymphs weave webs of sea purple wonderful to behold. There are springs of water never dry. It has 2 doors, one turned to the north, by which mortal men may descend, one on the south, meant rather for gods, by which men do not enter. But this is the road of the immortals. That is a hole towards the top, such as there is in the cave of the nymphs in Ithaca today. In that harbor they sailed, for they knew it well. The ship ran up on the beach, half her length, with a dash. For the oarsmen put up a good pace on her. The men leapt on the shore, and carried Odysseus out rolled up in his blanket and white sheet, and laid him down on the sand, still heavy with sleep. All his goods were brought out by the sturdy fellows from the places where they had been packed by the forethought of Athena. These were piled in a heap under the olive tree, off the road, so that no chance wayfarer might pilfer before Odysseus woke. Then the ship went home again. But the Earthshaker did not forget his threats of long ago against Odysseus. And he asked Zeus what he meant to do. "Father Zeus, I shall never have any respect in our world. Now mortal men pay me none. I mean the Phaeacians who actually belong to my own family. Here's an example. I thought Odysseus was to reach home in all sorts of misery and tribulation. I did not bar his return altogether, because you had solemnly promised him that he should return. And now here are these people bringing him over the sea in a fast cruiser, planting him down in Ithaca, giving him any amount of presents, bronze and gold, in plenty and woven stuffs, more than he could have collected from the spoils of Troy if he had come home with his share intact." Zeus Cloud-gatherer answered, "Bless my soul, good Earthshaker. You mustn't say that. There is no disrespect for you among us gods. It would be a great shame to bombard our eldest and best with insults. If a man thinks himself strong enough to refuse you proper respect, you can pay him out some time yourself. Do as you like about it. What pleases you pleases me." Wow, what a good friend Zeus Cloud-gatherer is to Poseidon Earthshaker. Poseidon Earthshaker answered, "That is what I should have done on the spot, Thundercloud. But I always have a wholesome fear of your temper, and I do my best to avoid it. Now then, what I should like to do is to smash that fine ship on the way back from their convoy, that the men may stop at once and convoy no more men over the sea. And then I will raise a ring of high mountains about the city." Zeus Cloud-gatherer answered, "Gentle creature, my temper thinks the best thing to be this. Wait till the ship is running in, and the whole city gazing at the sight, and turn it into stone close to the shore, and let the stone keep the shape of the ship, that all the world may wonder. Then raise a ring of high mountains about the city." So Poseidon Earthshaker went to Scheria, and there he waited. As the ship came sailing in at full speed, the Earthshaker turned it into stone, and rooted it firmly to the bottom by a blow from the flat of his hand. Then he went away. There was something for those people to talk about. The nation of seamen with their long oars, they spoke out their minds plainly. A man would stare at his neighbor and say, "Mercy on us! Who has shackled our ship in full course? I saw her clearly just now." For they did not know what had happened. But Alcinous called them together and spoke. "Ah me, I see now the ancient oracles come true, which my father told me. He used to say that Poseidon was jealous of us, because we gave safe convoy to all men over the sea. He said that one day the god would smash a ship on the water after it had just returned from a convoy and would rise mountains about our city. And now what the old man said is all coming to pass. Now then, take my advice, and let us all do as I shall say. Give no more convoy to strangers who shall come to our city. Let us sacrifice 12 choice bulls to Poseidon, and then perhaps he may have pity, and raise no lofty mountains about our city." Accordingly, the people in great fear prepared the bulls, and the lords and princes of the nation offered prayer to Poseidon standing about the altar. Odysseus awoke. He lay on his native soil, and knew it not, since he had been long absent. For Pallas Athena herself, that divine daughter of Zeus, had covered the place with mist, that she might tell him everything first and disguise him. She wished that his wife and friends might not know him until he had punished the wooers of his wife for their outrageous violence. For that reason, she made him find the whole place unfamiliar. The long roads, the wide harbors, the sharp rocks, the growing trees. He leapt up and stood looking round on his native land. Then he slapped his two thighs with his open hands and cried aloud in perplexity, "More trouble for me! What kind of men live in this country where I find myself? Men of violence, savages who know not justice, or kind people that know right from wrong? Where can I bestow these goods? Where can I go myself? I wish they had stayed in Phaeacia. I might have gone on to some other powerful king, who would have entertained me and helped me on my way. Now I do not know where to bestow all this, and I cannot leave the stuff here, or someone may come and steal." Ah, well, those Phaeacian gentlemen were not altogether just and right-minded men, or they would not have brought me to a strange country, when they promised to take me to Ithica and did not do it. May Zeus, who hears the suppliant's prayer, requite them. He that beholds the doings of men and punishes sinners. I will just count up and see if they have taken anything away with them. So Odysseus is just getting all kind of pranked right now. And Athena, I guess, is just playing her little godly game on it. It's not good. He counted the tripods and cauldrons, and the gold and all the woven stuffs, and missed nothing. Then he paced along the seashore, thinking with sorrow and grief of his native land. But now came Athena towards him, in the shape of a young shepherd, but someone who seemed to be delicately nurtured, like a gentleman's son. A cloak was folded about her shoulders, boots were on her feet, and she carried a javelin. Odysseus was glad to indeed see her, and moved to meet her, and he spoke out plainly. "Welcome, my friend. You are the first I meet in this place. I beg you to do me no wrong, but save me." "But save me, and save all this. I implore you, as if you were a god, and embrace your knees. Answer me truthfully. What is this place? What country is it, and what men live here? Is it some bright island, or the mainland shore sloping down to the sea?" Athena answered with her bright eyes glinting, "You are foolish, sir, or you have come from a long way off. If you ask questions about this land, it is not so very nameless in the world. Many men know it, both those who dwell towards the east and the rising sun, and those who dwell westwards towards the misty gloom. I grant it is rugged and no place for horses, but it is not a bad place. Although no one could call it broad, it grows a terrible lot of corn and makes its own wine. There's plenty of rain and luscious grass, good food for goats and good food for cattle, trees of all sorts, and plenty of water that never fails. Therefore, good stranger, the name of Ithaca has reached as far as Troy, which they say lies far away from the Achaean land." This made Odysseus glad indeed. After all his sufferings, full of joy to be on his native soil, he heard the words of Pallas Athenia. I think it's just Athena, daughter of Zeus, and his answer was plain enough, but he did not tell her the truth, which he was careful to keep back, for he had always a good store of clever fables. "Yes, I have heard of Ithaca even in the broad island of Crete far over the sea, and now I have come here myself with all these goods. I left as much again for my sons, when I had to get away, a banished man, because I killed a son of Idomeneus. I mean, Orsilochus, the sprinter, who beat every living soul in the island with those quick feet of his. He wanted to rob me of all my Trojan booty, which I had won by such toiling and moiling, wars on land and voyages over the sea. The fact was I would not be a servant to please his father, but he kept a company of my own men. I ran him through with a spear as he was coming down from the country, where I waited for him off the road with a friend. Odysseus is just into another story here. It was a dewy night, and not a soul saw, so nobody knew that I had killed him. When I had finished the business, I applied to some honest Phoenicians who were there with a ship. And I paid them a handsome fee out of my booty to take me on board for Pylos or their fair land of Elis, where the Epeans are in possession, but the wind drove them away from those parts. They could not help it. They had no wish to deceive me. From there we were carried out of our course to this place, in the night. We just managed to get into this harbor. We had no thought for food, though we were hungry enough, but just came ashore every man and lay down as we were. I was so weary that I fell into a deep sleep. The others brought out my goods from the ship and left them behind beside me on the sand. They have gone off to Sidon, and here I am left behind. Worse luck. Athena smiled, and her bright eyes flashed, and she stroked him with her hand. Now she looked like a tall and majestic woman, clever and intelligent, and she spoke to the point. A cunning rogue he would be, master of craft. Would outwit you. Even a god couldn't do it. Irreprehensible. Everlasting schemer. Indefatigable. Fabulist. Even in your own country you wouldn't desist from your tales and your historiological inventions, which you love from the bottom of your heart. But no more of this. We are both clever enough. You are the paragon of mankind at planning and storytelling, and I have a name among the gods for cleverness and intelligence. And you didn't know Pallas Athenia, the daughter of Zeus himself, your faithful standby and guardian in all of your labors, and it was I who made the Phaeacians kind to you. Well, here I am again, to make plans for you, and to hide your treasures which the generous Phaeacians bestowed upon you, all my doing. Let me tell you, and to explain the dangers which fate has waiting for you in your own home. Be patient, for you must. Say not one word either to man or woman living. Don't tell a soul that you have come back from your wanderings, but suffer all in silence, and put up with the violence of wicked men. Odysseus was not taken aback, but he answered at once, It is a difficult thing, goddess. It is a difficult thing, goddess, for a mortal man to know you at sight. Even a man of experience. You turn yourself into all sorts of shapes. One thing I do know, that you were gracious to me long ago when we Achaeans were fighting at Troy. But after we had sacked the tall city of Priam and embarked, the gods scattered the fleet. I did not see you then, O daughter of Zeus himself. I did not notice you on board my ship when I wanted someone to help me. I had to go drifting about in misery and wretchedness until the gods freed me from my troubles. That was before you encouraged me in the Phaeacian land and led me into the city yourself. Now I implore you by your father, for I do not think this is my beloved Ithaca, but some other country where I find myself. I think you are only making fun of me to bewilder my mind. Tell me if this is really Ithaca, my home. Athena answered with flashing eyes. You always are. You are always the same. No one can catch you napping, and that is why I cannot desert you in misfortune, because you are so charming, and discreet and always ready for anything. Any other man after those long wanderings would have been eager to see home and wife and children. You do not choose to ask anything of anyone until you make sure of your wife by your own observation. And she, let me tell you, just stays at home while she weeps the nights and days away. But I never doubted. I knew quite well that you would return at last after losing all your men. The truth is, I did not wish to quarrel with Poseidon, who is my father's own brother, and he was furious because you blinded his son. Look here, I will show you the landscape of Ithaca, and then you will believe me. This is the harbor of Phorcys, the old man of the sea. This is the olive tree with its long leaves. This is the vaulted cave where you have offered so many solemn sacrifices to the nymphs. There is Neriton Hill, covered with woods. With these words, the goddess dispersed the mist, and the land became visible. And Odysseus was filled with joy after all his troubles, and kissed the fruitful earth. Then he lifted up his hands and uttered a prayer to the nymphs. Naiad nymphs, O daughters of Zeus, I thought I was never again going to see you. But now, accept my greeting and my loving prayers. I will make my offerings also, as I used to do, if the guiding daughter of Zeus graciously allows me to live and my son to grow. Athena answered him, Take courage. Do not let that trouble you. But now let us put away these treasures far within the sacred cave, that they may remain in safety. We will consider between us how to manage for the best. The goddess entered the dark cave and searched about for hiding places, while Odysseus brought up the stuff, gold and bronze and clothing, which the Phaeacians had given him. All this they stowed away carefully, and Pallas Athena, daughter of Zeus Almighty herself, placed a stone before the mouth. Then the two sat down under the olive tree, and discussed how to make an end to the riotous gallants. Athena began by saying, Prince Laertiates, you are a man never baffled, and now is the time to consider how you may lay hands on those shameless men, who for 3 years have been lording it in your house, and paying court to your incomparable wife. She longs continually for your return, keeps them in hope, makes promises to each, proposes this and that, while she has quite other things in her heart. Odysseus said, I do declare I should have met the same cruel fate as Agamemnon and Atreides in my own house. For if you had not told me clearly what has been going on, my goddess, come on, weave me a plan to punish them. Stand by my side. Give me unfailing courage, as when we tore the pretty veil from Troy's head. If you stand by me in earnest, bright eyes, I could fight 300 men. With you, my queen and goddess, so long as you would really help me. That's game. That's some riz right there. If you stand by me in earnest, bright eyes, I could fight 300 men. I'm going to use that one time. Athena said to this, Of course I will stand by you. I will not forget you when we are about this business. I think those men who woo your wife and devour your wealth will soon bedabble the floor with their own blood and brains. Wow. Now then, I will disguise you so that no one will be able to know you. I will shrivel up the sound flesh of that muscular body. I will sweep off the brown crop from your head. I will wrinkle up those beautiful eyes. I will give you rags to wear, which anyone would be sick to see on a human being. And you shall seem like a shabby vagabond to the proud gallants, and even your own wife and son. But you must first pay a visit to the old man who looks after your pigs. He is always loyal to you, loves your son and your faithful Penelope. You will find him among his pigs. They feed near the Raven's Rock. The Raven's Rock still bears that name in Ithaca. Okay, it's in Ithaca. Raven's Rock. and Arethusa spring. Arethusa spring, with plenty of acorns to eat and clear water to drink. Which makes a good fat pig. Stay with him there and let him talk, while I go to Lacedaemon and bring back Telemachus. Yes, Odysseus, your own son from the land of handsome women. She seems to suggest that Telemachus may be a regular lad in the land of pretty girls. Odysseus gives a start at the name of Telemachus. He is not taken in, but sees the weak point, how neatly he reminds her that she let him go drifting on the sea. What? He has gone to the lawns of Lacedaemon to ask Menelaus about you, and to find out whether you are still alive. Odysseus very naturally asked, and why on earth didn't you tell him, since you knew all about it? And why on earth didn't you tell him, since you knew all about it? Did you want him to see how he likes drifting over the sea in despair? The sea is barren enough, and these men are devouring his wealth all the time. Honestly, Athena. Athena replied, now don't worry too much about him. I went there with him myself, that he might win some credit in the world. There's nothing the matter with him. He is staying peacefully in the palace of Atreides, living in luxury. It is true there are some young fellows waiting for him in a ship, intending to murder him before he gets home, but I don't think that will happen. The men who are devouring his wealth will be dead and buried before that. As she said this, Athena passed her rod over Odysseus. She withered the sound flesh of his muscular body and swept the flaxen crop from his head. She made the skin of every limb like the skin of an old man. She wrinkled up his beautiful eyes. She changed his clothes into a shirt and a lot of filthy old rags begrimed with foul reeking smoke. Upon this, she threw a big heart skin with the hair worn off, and she gave him a stick and a coarse bag full of holes with a twisted cord to carry it. Ah, the game is afoot. Odysseus revenge season. Okay, next time, book 14. Odysseus and the swineherd. Oh, it's gonna get good. Odysseus is gonna get busy. We'll check you next time.